Hello, hello. I don't know if anybody's out there. We are live. Weekly Wrestling Verdict back. Fire Frank here.
Charlie here.
Charlie over there. How's it going, Charlie?
Good.
Good to see you, man. A lot of interesting stuff going on in the world of pro wrestling this week. The last time we talked, I think we missed last week, but I guess we'll just talk about what happened this past week because the week before last, nothing was really going down. So this weekend was pretty busy. We had a lot of events going on over the past weekend. You had SmackDown, of course. You had GCW going on in New York. You had Slammiversary, Collision, G1 going on. You got a lot of stuff going on. What did you get to see this weekend? Any of it?
Collision, SmackDown.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what did you think of the? I guess we can start with SmackDown. Setting up a lot of stuff coming up for SummerSlam. What did you think of Jey Uso's promo?
Definitely up there. It was good. Jey Uso is the best supporting role in all of this.
That's for sure, right? We've been talking about it. We've been talking about it for the past year. Obviously, just another great promo by him. It was kind of cool. The crowd was really into it. They were cheering him on. They were kind of wanting him a little bit, but it was kind of like they were wanting him and like letting him move his promo forward. So that's a speaking style. So that was pretty cool. I mean, obviously Heyman came out with his comments. Always fun. Good back and forth there between Jay and, as Paul called himself, Juso. So that was pretty funny. Anyway, so we're going to get that match. They didn't announce it last week, but this week we're supposed to get some sort of. I didn't know if you knew, Charlie. Did you know that SmackDown was going to be an FS1 this week? I didn't know it
was going to be on FS1. FS1.
Yeah, I had no idea, except for the 75 times they told us.
And then you got Corey. And then you got Corey Graves messing it up. Special start time on FS1.
No, it's not. It's all right, Corey.
It's a different channel.
It's all right, Corey. I'm sure he'll talk about it in his podcast. Actually, Corey had a good podcast last week with baseball legend John Kruk from the Phillies. Actually, a really good episode. I do recommend that. It was a great conversation. I didn't realize how much of a fan John really was, so I recommend that interview. So that was SmackDown. It was mostly setting up. Like I said, we're moving ahead towards SummerSlam. We're only 2 weeks away, so we got to heat up here. We had the start of this little, I don't know if you want to call it a tournament, little mini thing going on to set up the U.S. title, presumably for SummerSlam, or it might be on SmackDown.
Escobar.
Yeah, kind of a weird result, but hey, which makes it interesting because we wonder who's going to win next week. Obviously, we set up a promo between the four guys going this week. Obviously, LA Knight got the biggest pop, but. Yeah, that was interesting, right? Santos getting a bit of a.
It's probably just because they need a face-to-face LA Knight, but
right, because LA Knight technically is still not. Hey, he's pretty much babyface. He's just not. He hasn't officially turned yet. Maybe he won't need to actually turn. So you're expecting him to win this 4-way this week and face Santos. I guess next week.
No doubt in my
mind. They haven't really said when this title shot would be. Like we're presuming SummerSlam, but I mean, we have a pretty loaded card already, so I could see it being on SmackDown maybe or a big promoted match. Hopefully, it gets on on SummerSlam itself.
It could be one of those night before SummerSlam things.
Yeah, I just right because I think this week we have the 4-way. Is the final taking place this week? I forgot already.
No, they're having the 4-way with LA Knight this week. And then next week will be the final. Right.
And the week after, we still have one more week after that for the
match itself.
For the actual match. Yeah, they didn't say when it was. I was hoping it'd be on Summer. Especially if Knight wins it, you'd like to see him. Even Theory, I know for Theory, they've done nothing with him. I don't really blame him. But since Mania, nothing. And I would like to see him at least be on the SummerSlam card. But we've got a pretty loaded show as it is. So I could definitely see him moving this to TV. But I wouldn't mind if he showed up. At least get some more time. I don't know. We'll see what happens more after Friday where we get this match set that we're expecting. But you never know. They could throw us a wrinkle. Another thing on SmackDown happened that opening tag match is pretty good. Sheamus and Ridge against Pretty Deadly. But fortunately, we had an injury in that match.
Who got injured?
It was So like during the match, there was like this spot where Ridge did like the pounce type move. Remember like the pounce? And let me see. I'm trying to pull it up. Yeah, so Elton Prince and Pretty Deadly.
No!
For you who can't tell the difference, the blonde one, he actually separated his shoulder on that pounce spot. Finished the match though. Actually hit the finishing move, the left drop off the top with a separated shoulder. So props to this guy for finishing the match. Yeah, fortunate timing. They're being treated so well, but I'm not too worried. I mean, I don't know how long that's going to be. I don't see any updates.
I am loving Pretty Deadly on SmackDown.
Yeah, they fit right in. I'm not surprised. I think I suggested them months ago when they were talking about who should call up, and I said, well, they were called up at NXT finally a year ago, and they were pretty much ready to go. I mean, I've obviously developed this little bit of a thing with Theory. I heard on the house shows this weekend Theory was teaming with Kit Wilson, so they can continue that association while he's hurt. Because you obviously, if one member of a team gets hurt and you're not the Usos right now, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
For them to keep them up, but hopefully they continue to stay on TV because that's what getting them over their mic time. He actually cut a pretty good promo with his arm in a sling after the show. Yeah, so I'll get well soon to Elton Prince of Pretty Deadly. What else happened on SmackDown? I don't think really too much. Anyway, we had another cash-in tease by Io. Unfortunately, this weekend I saw Bayley had a bit of an injury in the house show on Sunday night. I don't know if you saw the clip, Charlie, but
no.
They were having like a four-way match at the house show on Sunday with Asuka, Charlotte, Bianca, and Bayley, and like Io kind of ducked down, and Bayley was like running past. There was a little bit of an awkward spot, and she kind of caught her knee. I don't know what she like caught maybe her step and like her knee buckled. She went down. They finished the match pretty quickly after that. She did post on social media that not to worry, but she did have a picture of her with it wrapped with ice. Last I heard, they were waiting to see how the swelling goes down and all that. But she didn't need crutches to get out. So hopefully it's just like a sprain or something, not anything major. Obviously, she came off a major ACL injury a year ago. So hopefully nothing too serious there for Bayley. Get well soon. It was one of those weekends, I guess. Yeah, so you did watch Collision. I know I'll touch quickly on Slammiversary since you didn't get to see it, obviously. Actually, it turned out to be pretty eventful. We had, out of 6 title matches, 5 titles changed hands. So
wow.
Pretty wild. Yeah, the only title that remained the same was Alex Shelley retaining the world title against Nick Aldis, who apparently is leaving Impact already. So I guess that was a very short-term deal.
Oh, wow.
He finished up at the TV tapings the day after. So, yeah, we'll see what the future holds for him. Obviously, I know WWE was interested a couple months ago, but there's also some word about being interested in him as a producer, which is interesting. But I guess we'll see what happens with him. But, yeah, 5 title changes. We had Leo Rush recently came to the company, won the X Division title. Like it wasn't really a match. He just pretty much attacked Saban, and the referee didn't want to start the match. And he said start it, and then he pretty much beat him within a minute or so. So new X Division champ. We had a new tag champs, Subculture, former NXT UK tag team champions. Flash Gordon Webster and Mark Andrews won the tag titles in the Indy 4-Way after some interference and stuff like that. We had over Chris Bay and Ace Austin. Let's see what else happened. Trinity, former Naomi in WWE, won the women's Knockouts title over Deanna. So new champ there. New women's tag champs, Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly as well. And the big tag team match, Scott D'Amore in his hometown, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Had a Bully Ray got a new partner in Diener, and Scott D'Amore had an interesting tag partner. They did tease it last week, but yeah, it was in fact Showtime Eric Young back in Impact. So I know we were a little confused the other day, but last couple of days we found out that Eric Young was indeed signed to WWE back in November after he was literally killed off on Impact. So he was signed there. They were going to do something with Wyatt or something like that with the Wyatt family. We talked about it. We speculated. Obviously, that didn't happen with whatever was going on with Bray. And apparently, he asked for his release right after Mania when Vince came back. He wasn't apparently too happy about that. I know they had a falling out when he was there previously. So he got his release. It wasn't reported because it was never really reported that he signed anyway. So he was just quietly waiting out his 90 days all this time. So when he showed up, that was his actual return. So I'm assuming he signed back with Impact. Probably the best place for him. It's been his home. Did come back as Scott's surprise partner against the man that tried to stab him to death when we last saw him. So obviously Eric Young's back as a babyface here in Impact. So I mean, probably the best place for him. yeah, I don't know. We'll never know what those Wyatt family plans were. Still don't know what's going on. Hopefully, I know we've talked about. I know Jay Mill and I, we and Charlie have had some disagreements on that, but I just hope he's okay. They keep talking about health problems, so I really, really hope he's all right. Yeah. Obviously. Speaking of which, today the DLC dropped the Wyatt pack, so everybody can check that out. Nice. The bonus Uncle Harry character, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, so check that out if you guys are playing 2K, and obviously if you're playing any Fight Forever, let us know. Who's in the chat? Russell Rice, thanks for coming in. Yes, that was Slammiversary. At the same time, going head to head with Collision as we discussed. So, yeah, Collision again started off with a very long tag team match here. The rematch, 2 out of 3 falls. FTR.
Wow, 58
Jay White, Juice Robertson, 58 minutes, 3 falls. Pretty wild. I mean, I expected to get a lot of time because the first week match got about a half hour. So this pretty much took up the entire first hour plus of Collision.
Don't get me wrong, it was a great match, but 58 minutes, wow.
Yeah, it was a bit much. I'll say that was a bit much, but I can't really complain with the match, especially the last fall, the closing sequence. It was pretty hot. Little callbacks there. To FTR DIY in Canada with the grabbing the hands and all that stuff, which was kind of cool. So, yeah, FTR retained in a really good match. Your mileage may vary on if you like the match being that long, but it was definitely a good way to start the show. And I do like their focus seemed to be more on just in-ring action, not too much mile a minute, just solid action. I kind of appreciate the differences we're seeing between the shows now, because otherwise there's no purpose to have these two shows, right? So apparently there was word out they've been having these meetings. Punk has really been championing this. They want to be different than Dynamite, and that's a good idea, actually. We had so that match took up the whole first hour. We had our finals of the Owen tournament. Maybe some people a little surprised. Will Nightingale takes the women's tournament. Good for her. Been a fan of her since I used to see her in Shine Wrestling, so good for Willow. Ruby losing 2 years in a row in the finals, and obviously in the men's, in the men's, I think we called it, but some people might think it was an upset. Ricky Starks beat CM Punk in Canada. Little hold of the trunks, little heelish, grabbing the trophy. I guess it was a shout out to Owen grabbing the trophy like he grabbed the Slammy. Not sure why Jushin Liger got flown in just to be on the screen for 10 seconds. Me and my friends were joking. We hoped that was somebody else in the mask, because why did you fly this guy here for that? But apparently they did. So, I guess.
Imagine if they got somebody else in the mask.
Yeah, right. Like, would you have known, really? But whatever. I guess it made sense for him to be there as one of Owen's famous opponents in Japan. But it was pretty funny. He did pull like the Owen, grab the trophy. I'm assuming, is this a heel turn for Ricky? It looks like it. I don't know why. I guess it's something because he's kind of stagnated, obviously, since the MJF little mini feud. So maybe he needs something. I don't know. Or it could just been a little tribute.
I think it's going to lead to more of a heel turn for Punk.
Yeah, we discussed it. We thought maybe losing it, and actually in this fashion, it could give him the kind of that motivation. He was in Calgary there wearing Brett's colors, of course. Did not get a favorable reaction, though, unlike last week. Apparently the bigger towns in Canada aren't big Punk fans, big elite section of Canada, I assume. But yeah, it's becoming a problem in certain areas. If that's going to keep happening, they're going to have to probably full on turn him heel, which is what we should be getting anyway. We should be getting that feud, but we're not for reasons. I'm really hoping it's just a bunch of nonsense that they're just trying to work us, because it's kind of silly for them to be throwing away this money feud while the elite continues to feud with the BCC ad nauseum. Hopefully tonight that gets settled in the Blood and Guts match. You would assume that would get settled, but you never know. So anyway, that was kind of Collision. We also had a Battle of the Belts show attached to it, which actually went to stick. The numbers actually didn't drop too badly so being attached to Collision kind of helped it. Nothing really on that show. And the worst part, the women's title match, they literally came back from break. They had a technical problem and didn't come back on for like 10 minutes. And then when they came back on, they just didn't say anything. So I'm like, so the match, what happened? In fact, they came back and just started airing Julia Hart's squash from last week's Collision for about like half of that, and then it cut back to our announce team. It was a little strange. They kind of, I don't know. Some bad weather. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't watch it live, but I watched it back. I'm like, and I had heard something, and I'm like, oh, geez, what is it? And I'm going like, how many commercials on this?
Yeah.
It reminds me of when Impact was on one of their networks once, and they literally had a whole 2 hours of problems, and they just kept running commercials for 2 hours. So thankfully, this was only about 10 minutes, but they missed the entire finish of a title match. Not that we expected a title change there, but out of respect for Tony, it's kind of sad that we didn't get to see the finish. And they didn't even show us a clip of it. So hopefully they'll probably maybe air that.
No, they showed a clip at the end of it.
Did they show a clip? I didn't. Oh, yeah. I forgot. But yeah, anyway, they showed a clip. Hopefully they should just re-air the match in entirety. I'm assuming. Very weird. It's just weird they took to the end of the show to acknowledge it. They just kind of a bit of a technical problem. Something with the weather, I don't know, but that was pretty funny. But other than that, there was nothing really going out of your way to watch that Battle of the Belt show. I mean, Orange Cassidy had an interesting match with Lance Archer, but other than that, I mean, I wouldn't say it's worth any more than Rampage. These Battle of the Belt shows haven't really been anything since the first one when you still had Cody and stuff around. So so that was the big Saturday night 3-hour block there on TNT. Yeah, so I guess we move ahead to Raw. Any other thoughts on that weekend stuff?
That
I missed.
Collision was a solid show, and that's coming from a guy that's not a huge AEW fan.
Yeah, so about a month in, we're liking the differences here. It seems like numbers haven't shown it, but again, Saturday night, tough night. Apparently, the DVR numbers are raising up as you would expect. It's kind of out of their hands there, so I can't really get on them about that. That's a network decision. So, but if they're going to at least make some differences between the shows, it gives you a reason to watch it. You've got major stars on it, so hopefully.
One of the main differences is they don't have to fill every second with something.
Right.
You don't go from a match to a backstage segment to
2 seconds. They don't do that. Cut to the back after 2 seconds after the match ends.
They're actually taking their time and making each segment worth it.
We do appreciate that, I think. So that's a plus for them. We'll see how the numbers peter out, but especially when they have bigger competition on pay-per-view coming up in 2 weeks. We'll see with SummerSlam and pretty much every show being on a Saturday now. So it could be tough. And then obviously you have your UFC nights as well.
There's coming SummerSlam.
Yeah, obviously. I would. I don't know. I wouldn't probably bother putting on a major show. Then I would probably kind of. I don't know. You're not going to pull all the stops. Maybe they will. I don't know. We'll see. I know they're in Newark this weekend, where I was at for Full Gear this past November. We'll see how the crowd is there. They also have a Ring of Honor pay-per-view this Friday that's being booked on the fly as we speak. So. You guys are into that. If you guys want to pay $40 or whatever, how many dollars to watch that, more power to you. I'm not going to do that, but hey, I'm not sure who's out there paying $10 for this Honor Club, but hey, if you want to do that, good for you. Hopefully they get a real solid streaming service up and running at some point, because it's kind of sad you can't watch back, your prior AEW matches and shows without there really is nothing. They don't really have an archive of sorts. Yeah. They have the TBS app, TNT app, and then Bleacher Report has some of their old episodes on. They obviously have the pay-per-views. They need some kind of structured thing. That would be nice, especially if they have all this footage. But we'll see what happens with that, obviously. We moved on to Raw, which was actually pretty eventful this week. I know you had a comment last week about nothing really happening a week ago on Raw, but this week we were pretty busy.
Last week more happened on NXT than Raw, but
this week we had a pretty eventful Raw, a pretty solid show overall, I'd say.
Nice build towards SummerSlam, a step in the right direction.
Yeah, we had a big show-long angle with Sammy and Kevin in the Judgment Day leading up to that tag match main event, which was pretty good. Hot crowd, hot finish to that match. So that was nice. We're continuing to tease a little bit of attention there, but this week was more about heating up Finn and Seth again with the attack during that little interview there. So I expect this week we'll get some confirmation about that. Well, I think we already got the confirmation, but we'll get more about that match. I think we called it when the last match ended the way it did. They're going to have another match here at SummerSlam. As you said, 7 years later, here at SummerSlam, they're back again. I expect it to be a better match this time. Maybe I think it gets more time. I think we get more. We have the Priest thing going on.
Could it main event?
What will it main event?
Could it?
No.
You think Jay versus Roman will main event?
It has to.
Okay.
If Roman wasn't on the show, then maybe. But you're not going to not put the hottest angle of the thing to end your biggest one of your biggest shows of the years. I would say, unless you're going to have this big cash in moment. But even then, I don't see them doing that, which is why I don't expect a cash in to happen on the show. But we'll talk more about that when we get closer when we do our SummerSlam preview. But I'll see what everybody thinks out of the comments and the chat. So if you want to leave comments later on, let us know what you think about this Balor against Rollins. Could it main event? Should it main event? Will we see a cash in? We'll see about that. Actually, I did hear that Logan Paul wants to go on first. Did you hear this?
It's going to be a tough act to follow
for
them. So
he has this plan to fly to Vegas to walk his brother to the ring the same night. He says, I don't know if the timing's going to do it. He said the timing may not work, but he's really hoping because by the time they get to I think he's fighting at 11 o'clock at that time. He said with the time difference, he's hoping he can get there. He said, I don't care if I got to go there in my gear that I wrist wrestled in and walk right to the ring. He wants to accompany his brother Jake to the ring. So I guess if that's the case, we're probably going to get that match opening, which will be a hot opener.
It's a tough act to follow.
That's for sure. Whatever you can say about Ricochet, with him in the ring with two guys that are just nutty like this, yeah, we'll see some fun, some fireworks. And Logan hasn't let us down yet in all his appearances, so that should be a fun match. What else happened on Raw? Obviously, we set up a lot of stuff. We've got we're setting up Becky and Trish, obviously, with the match next week.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has the stipulation that she's going to get a tattoo. It says thank you, Trish. I don't know. I was confused. Was that made official? She wanted her to say if Becky loses, she has to get a tattoo. It says thank you, Trish. Trish has had a nice what a run. Professional wrestling, right? What a run. One of the better heels out there right now after, not being a full-time performer in 17 years. But Trish, I'm going to be sad to see her go if she's leaving post SummerSlam because she's been a highlight since she came back.
She can't just leave after SummerSlam.
I hope not. I hope she at least has another match besides it. But that's up to her, I guess. But, yeah, we'll see if that stipulation sticks. Although all we know is Becky and Zoe have a match, and I guess if she beats her, she's going to get the rematch with Trish. And we all expect to happen. So that should be good. What else happened on the show? A lot of stuff happened on the show. We had what did you think of the go ahead, Charlie. Go ahead.
Can we just tackle something?
Yeah, of course.
Why does Braun no. What's his why am I brain farting on his name?
Braun Breaker? Braun Strowman?
No.
Brock Lesnar? What are we talking about?
Big dude.
Omos?
Bronson Reed.
Oh, Bronson. I should have known you were talking about Bronson.
Why do we have to call him Big Bronson Reed? That's such an 80s wrestling.
They're trying to find something that sticks that they can market him with. We already have Big Bill, so we've got Big Bronson. I don't know. I know Vince loves his alliteration, the double letters and stuff, so that could be it. He was the Colossal Bronson Reed for the longest time in NXT.
That would have been better.
But I guess it's not. I don't know. They're trying different things. We'll see what sticks. They also had. What's it? Kevin, who referred to him as the braggadocious bully. I'm like, that's a little bit too much. They're trying to find something for him. However, he is still continuing to get over with the crowd. Obviously, the Tsunami gets a big pop. But, he had a match with Nakamura, which ended with which Kevin Patrick called inadvertently cost of the match. I mean, it's pretty advertent when he comes into the ring in the middle of the match and attacks his opponent.
I'm calling it right now. Shinsuke's turning heel, and he's going to go back to his angry Shinsuke Nakamura theme song.
Again?
I love that theme song.
Oh, with the lyrics? Yeah, that was a good theme song. Unfortunately, that heel run didn't lead anywhere, but it was fun while it lasted. But he's been getting a lot more airtime since the draft, since he came back to Raw, from his absence. So hopefully he continues to get that. Looks like we're setting up. It's a little confusing because Miz had a promo. So Miz seems to think that he's still feuding with Ciampa, but Ciampa is actually more mad at Bronson Reed. And then Nakamura's mad at Ciampa now for costing him the win. Understandably so, and rightfully so. He did attack him right in the middle of the match while he had the advantage. Yeah. So I don't know how inadvertent it was when you literally could have just waited till the match was over. But Ciampa was not very happy, obviously. So I don't know where we're going with this. We still don't know. We were teased with the Gargano and Ciampa reunion. I don't know what's going on with Gargano right now. I don't know what's happening. But will we see a Ciampa Bronson match? Possibly. Probably not in the pay-per-view, but we'll probably see it on TV maybe next week even. Or the week before.
I was going to say we have 2 weeks.
I wouldn't be upset to see that match, obviously. That should be a good match. And Bronson Reed, whatever you say his name or not, he's good. He's got talent. I'm glad that he's getting more airtime now. Hopefully they find something that sticks with him and they can move him to that next level in this heel run he's going. Although he did make a good babyface on NXT, so we'll see what happens. What else happened? Anything else on Raw that you want to talk about? We had a lot of stuff happen, but we had what did you think of the Viking Rules match?
It was interesting.
It was much better than it had any right to be, I thought. As far as the whole thing, it was actually a good, fun. It was good
when they did that with, what was it? Then they did the ship with New Day.
Oh yeah, they did do something similar on SmackDown with New Day, right?
Yeah, that was good too. Much better.
Yeah, so, and obviously, what can you say about Chad Gable, the guy?
That suplex. Oh my god.
He deadlifts this guy literally with no help. He didn't help him in the side. He just deadlifted him. Like Chad Gable is this incredible athlete. It's unfortunate that they let his size hold him back because this guy's literally he's an Olympian for one. But
I think there's a future.
He's gotten over several times, but this just seems to be sticking. And turning them babyface him and then Otis, because Otis is more of a natural babyface, and he's starting to grow the hair back in. He's got the beard back. He's more of himself. This pairing with Maxine, which makes no sense, it's working. Crowd is into it. They respond big. So what can you say about it? The Maximum Male models weren't going anywhere, so this is probably better use for her. I wonder what her brother Max thinks about all this, but he's on SmackDown. But yeah. She did get through that table, so that was a pretty big bump for her. She has trained to wrestle, so we should see if she wants to have some more matches. She did talk about it on Bray's podcast about wanting to do more in ring. So it's been a fun pairing. Otis was always over. When they turned him heel, it kind of killed his heat, but he's got it back now. So I'm assuming this feud is going to continue. She got her jacket back, but then she went through the table. We'll have to have some sort of final blow off. I don't know what you'll call it, but Viking Rules match was interesting, with apparent Viking expert Titus O'Neil on commentary for some reason. But it was good to hear from Titus. It's been a while. Always entertaining. So that was Raw. A good show. It's a long show, 3 hours. It does feel after a while, but it was a pretty solid, entertaining top to bottom this week. A pretty focused show. So we're setting up for SummerSlam. It's heating up. That would take us to NXT last night, which I know Charlie didn't really get to watch it. No. But we had an interesting show built around last week when we heard, if you see below, with Dominic Mysterio, Dirty Dom, going down to NXT once again. Open challenge against Wesley, North American champion. So that was our main event. Other things on the show that you missed, we had pretty good match with Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier against Angel and Humberto, who got into a bit of a tiff after the match when they lost, but it was a pretty solid match. We had my boy Tony D's free, as you see here, got his welcome back to the CWC with his whole family in attendance. Apparently, just a bunch of random people in the ring. I don't know if they had a casting call. They said we need people that look Italian. Stand in the ring, but yeah, including. We had a couple. I don't know who all these people were, but they I think they went to central casting. But we did have at least one actual wrestler in the ring. But that was a pretty fun segment. They pulled out their crowbars as us Italians are known to do. I think they just hand us crowbars at birth. They just when we get to be 5 years old, they hand us our first crowbar.
Yep.
Teach us how to use it, just in case there's any problems.
I remember
Tony, but it was so they were setting up that tag match with Gallus. Obviously, title match was confirmed for the Bash, Great American Bash, coming up actually next weekend, July 30th. So that match is set in stone. We also had a moment where Dirty Dom got to meet up with Tony D backstage, as I hoped he would. And they were kind of just saying hello. And Tony goes to him, "Hey, Benny the Bumper from the Yard. He said hi." Dom, oh, that Benny, he's a good guy. What a guy.
That's fantastic.
From his night in prison, he made good friends with Benny in the Yard. I don't know. Tony D was back. Anyway, yeah, they pulled their crowbar. They attacked Gallus. They went flying through the table littered with cold cuts, as tends to happen at Italian family gatherings. So that was a pretty fun segment. What else happened in the show? I think I ran through it all with you earlier. We had the Gallus match is set up. We had another weird Baron Corbin segment where he's in the woods and he's talking to this. He's looking at this masked guy, and the masked guy turns around and takes off his mask, and it's also Baron Corbin. I don't know. Maybe he has a brother, Grumpy Corbin. I'm not sure, but he's got some kind of new gimmick he's working on. So we'll see what that is coming up. It's probably for the best that he went back down there because obviously on the main roster he was clearly going nowhere right now. So we'll see where all this stuff is going. We had Reggie Scripps turning heel again on Axiom. Like I told you, that match during the debut of Lucien Price and Bronco Nima. They have a good look, big guys. They seem to be pretty charismatic. The match wasn't much because it was just a vehicle for Scripps / Reggie to turn heel on Axiom again. So we'll see where that goes. He did leave with them, so I'm wondering if they're joining up as a group. We'll see what happens next week. Yeah, it was pretty fun. We got a yeah in the chat, of course. yeah. Anyway, so that takes us to our main event. Like I said, I wouldn't go over the whole show, but Charlie didn't see it, so there was a not so good match with Gigi and Kiana, which we don't have to discuss. But my favorite part of the night, other than the main event, was the NXT Anonymous.
The main event wasn't Dom.
It was the main event. I'm saying, but my other favorite segment besides all this was the Booker getting caught on camera talking to Roxanne by NXT Anonymous, and when he came back, he was very upset, very, very upset. That wasn't no promo. What? Who's filming me? At least somebody's finally upset that there's somebody filming people secretly. Like, Booker was very upset after that. He just went on. He was on another one last night, the rest of the night on commentary. He was channeling his Black Snow days from TNA on commentary, random accents breaking into it, just yelling at Dick. Some fun stuff. I recommend watching the show just to listen to Booker T sometimes because he's just classic. Anyway, I guess we should go to the main event. I know you didn't get to see the whole thing, but we had Dom against Wesley, as we said before. Dominic being accompanied, of course, by Rhea. We didn't see anybody else at the time, but we just saw Rhea. But so they had a pretty basic match. It's not going to be as good as Wesley's normal title defenses. He's been on this great run. Dominic obviously has the character down. He's gotten better in the ring, but he's not quite there yet. But it was fun. The crowd obviously had massive heat on him there. Very upset that booing his every move as usual. And actually at the crux of the match, we had some. We had Finn run in. We had Priest show up. They tried to distract the ref. They did distract the ref. They missed. Well, Priest missed first, but then Rhea managed to clock Wesley with her women's title belt, knocking him out. In fact, I think even legitimately busting him open because I saw he was bleeding after the shot. This was a nice shot she nailed him with. It was a real knockout shot for real.
Nice.
Nice shot. And then Dominic, of course, falls on top for the pin as the crowd there in Orlando just sits there with their mouths open, their heads in their hands. Literally, we see this anger as I was rejoicing in front of my TV last night. But yeah, that was a fun entrance. I think we called that. We didn't have a show last week, but we talked privately. Why not put the title on? And they did. Obviously, I don't think this is a long-term thing, but why not? I mean, just having this match, the preliminary numbers, they were up pretty big last night just by
he definitely deserved it.
So, yeah, I mean, if the funnies have, why not give him some little run? It doesn't even have to be a long run. Obviously, we were setting up for Lee against Mustafa Ali, but we'll see. Maybe there'll be a 3-way at the Bash, or maybe it'll just have a rematch.
They said it was Dominic versus Mustafa.
Right now against Mustafa, but we'll see if I don't know. That'd be kind of an odd match, but hey, maybe we'll get a 3-way. We'll see. I think they should just do that. I wouldn't just take it off from next week. I'd make it. Why not? Bring some extra eyes to the Bash PLE for sure. Yeah. So, what do you think about this whole thing, Charlie? I know you liked it, but let's.
I'm proud of Dominic. I'm proud of Dominic.
How much we've come in a year? A year ago, we were talking about it's too late for him to turn. You kept saying it's too late. Remember?
Yeah.
And a year later, we were very wrong. Oh, you were very wrong. Thankfully, I know you're happy to be wrong. He's been like one of the highlights. Who would have guessed? One of the highlights every week. It used to be he was a highlight just because his terrible promos, we would just laugh at it. But now he's just. I think even his awkwardness helps because he's a heel.
Yeah,
it just makes it even better. He looks lost sometimes, like he's looking what to do, and it just makes him more aggravating and more annoying.
But like I messaged you off screen, it's so weird that out of Judgment Day, Finn Balor is the only one not carrying something right now.
Right. Although he doesn't have a big match going up. But I mean, the fact that all of them are very much involved in big stuff going on. Obviously, who would have thought when they started this with Edge? But yeah, obviously Edge didn't stick around with them, but I think they got where he wanted them to get. And obviously, we created some new stars here. Rhea's what feels like one of the top stars of the company, period, man or woman. And Dom, maybe not being as technically skilled as the rest, has the most heat. Obviously, maybe the one true heel in wrestling outside of MJF when he wants to be. So that was a pretty classic moment. We're happy about it. There was so many angry people. I love when people get angry about wrestling. I love it.
So what do we got on Dynamite tonight?
Right. So Dynamite, we've got the Blood and Guts match, obviously. In Boston at the TD Garden, big arena. I don't know how we'll see how a bigger crowd we get. So we've got that big main event, obviously double ring. Basically War Games match. Last week we got our mystery partners announced, which was Pac for the BCC, which kind of fits, I guess. And as expected, Kota Ibushi being showing up with his ex-partner Kenny, the Golden Elite against the BCC. We've got the finals of the Tag Team Eliminator Tournament with the best friends, Adam Cole and MJF. Hopefully taking this tournament. We hope, but. What did you think about all those segments last week with and the match with MJF and Adam Cole, the new best friends?
Great stuff. Great stuff.
A little segment with them training, playing video game. It was just this kind of stuff always works when you have like the odd couple like that, and especially with someone like MJF. But it's getting to a point where like he's getting so over with this. It's like, why are we fighting this? You think can he be babyface? Yes. How? By this is how.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, they both said they were planning on turning on each other. They openly said this. So it should be interesting where they go with this. You can go either way. Like, you could do a double turn the other way if you wanted to. Adam Cole is much better heel than babyface, as we know. This crowd wants to cheer MJF. What do you think? Do you think they can change plans here and maybe work something?
If they had a double turn, it would be awesome.
Yeah, they should. I mean, they should win this tournament. I don't know. They're getting the title shot, I believe, next week on Collision, not this week. I think they said. You got to go. You might as well have win and have this match against FTR. Obviously, this would be the biggest possible match. I mean, if you're not ready to do anything else, I'd put the titles on them. But I don't know what the plans are coming up. They obviously have 2 pay-per-views in August now, in September, back to back with All In, All Out. It was finally basically confirmed that All Out's going to be. I mean, All In is also going to be on Bleacher Report and everything else, and Fight like everything else. There's probably going to be some kind of combo price for the 2 pay-per-views, but we'll see. So it's kind of tough. They're building up for 2 big pay-per-views in a month, and we've got a lot of stuff going on. This obviously, this little angle is going on. You would think is leading to a title match between the 2. So do they win the tournament then lose the title match, and that's when somebody turns on the other? I guess that's possible. I guess that'd be for All Out. Because I can't figure out who else would be challenging MJF right now. Will they do it All In? I don't know. That's just a question that hasn't been answered yet, but we'll find out. But those 2 together, it always works. We had, Kevin Owens and Jericho. We had, what else can we have? Stuff like this. It always works, this kind of stuff.
Definitely.
And it was kind of a little thrown together thing, and it's been one of the highlights. I know some people didn't like some of the cheesiness, but I think it helped to its favor being so cheesy. So we'll see what happens when it comes to that. Anything else happening? Yeah, so that's Dynamite tonight. It's a pretty big episode, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, SmackDown on FS1. Roman Reigns is going to be there. They're pulling out the stops here. They always obviously get less viewers when they move to another channel, especially on cable. You're going to get less viewers, and especially when it's on an unknown channel like FS1. But we'll see what Roman being there will help those numbers or not. But it should be an interesting segment. I'm just going to guess we're finally going to get the actual confirmation of the match at SummerSlam, whatever the rules of engagement are. I guess that's going to be like what kind of stipulation we're talking about here, maybe. Obviously, we had the Brock Cody stuff on Raw, which I don't think we touched on, but I guess next week maybe we'll get some more information about possible stipulation there. They did announce the match, but no stip yet. So I'm guessing next week we're gonna have Cody or something, come up with some sort of stipulation. We've speculated, but I don't think it's just going to be a regular singles match. It would feel kind of flat.
It can't be a regular singles match.
They haven't announced what it'll be yet, or even teased that it's going to be something, but it's got to be. With all the chaos they had this week with them fighting like crazy each other, him attempting to break Cody's arm again in front of his mother. Thankfully, he did not put his mother in a Kimura lock. Maybe if this was 20 years ago, he probably would have, but it's not. But shades of F5ing Zach Gallen into the post in front of his mother. Almost there, a little flashback there, 20 years. But that's going to be a crazy match as their first two have been good. And I think they'll save the best for last year. Then Cody will move on to whatever he's going to move on until next. We've got plenty of time left before, the road to, I guess, the Rumble. But we were ways off from that. But that'd be the next big thing after Survivor Series, which we're not sure if we're having War Games this year or not. But I guess we'll find out. All we know is going to be in Chicago. Good for Chicago. They never get any wrestling shows there. Never. Anyway, yeah. So we're on the road to SummerSlam, and we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. We'll obviously do a preview right before that. But anything else you want to talk about, Charlie?
No, I'm good.
Anything else going on? Nothing we need to push. Let's see what the chat's saying. Okay. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, leave some comments later if you have to. Let us know what you think. If you hate Dom, if you love him, thank you guys for the support, and we'll catch you soon.
Technical difficulties. Thank you all.
Thanks again, guys. Thanks so much for joining.
There you are.
We'll see you again. We had to do this twice just to be sure. Okay.